Hi guys, so this is the next video in the chapter 1 series. Today we look into the industries. So industries is set of organizations that converts input into outputs in order to fulfill human needs and wants. So generally growth in industries are an essential factor in order to develop the economy. So categorization of industries, the industries could be classified using the following three bases: based on the nature, based on the scale, based on the technology used. Since we have already looked into the industries that are based on the nature, we are now going to move on to the next section, that is industries based on the scale. So industries based on the scale, it is subdivided into three parts. The first one being small scale industries. So in Sri Lanka, a small scale industry is determined if its annual turnover is in the range of 16 million to 250 million and employs 11 to 50 employees. The medium scale, so its annual turnover should be in the range of 251 million to 750 million and employs 51 to 300 if it's a manufacturing sector, 51 to 200 if it's a service industry. Now let's look into the large scale industry. If its annual turnover is 750 million plus and employs over 300 for manufacturing industry and employs over 200 for service industry, then it comes under large scale industry. So as we looked into the small and medium scale industries, we'll have to know that most of the industries in Sri Lanka comes under this category. Even though their individual contribution is less, the government cannot ignore, since the aggregate, that is the total contribution from them to the economy, is huge. Now let's look into the reasons why SMEs are considered important. Since people start their own small to medium scale companies, they would generate lots of job opportunities. SMEs can be started with a small investment and requires less time to commence. SMEs would also help to utilize resources that are spread across the country and would reduce people coming to cities to find a job and make a living. Now let's look into the problems that are faced by the SMEs. They have to compete with international products due to no import restrictions in an open economy. Inability to acquire capital like large businesses. Difficult to employ skillful employees since they would demand high salary packages. Difficulty to adapt to latest technology due to large investment requirements. Uncertainty in the market. So to solve this problem, the government should provide concessionary loans, restrict certain imports, increase tax for imported products when there are substitutes available locally, introduce knowledge sharing platforms where experts share their knowledge and experience and also guide the SMEs, provide infrastructure facilities. Now let's move on to the next categorization under the industry, that is based on technology. It is subdivided into two categories. The first one being labor intensive. Here the business uses a relatively greater proportion of laborers compared to machineries in the process of producing a good or a service. Examples would be agriculture, mining. Here a lot of laborers are required instead of machineries. The next subdivision is capital intensive. Here the businesses uses a relatively greater proportion of machineries compared to labor in the process of producing a good or a service. Examples would be motor vehicle production companies, aircraft manufacturers, etc. The location of an industry is very important decision to be made by any businesses, since there are lots of expenses incurred and it should be accessible to many facilities. So before selecting a location, a business should consider the government rules and regulations related to the operations of the related industry, the weather conditions, the impact of it to the business, next availability of raw materials and labor, accessible to basic infrastructure, access to its target market, the factory location of its competitors, and expert opinions. As for government, It should try to provide concessions and facilities to open the factories in rural areas because many of the businesses are in urban areas, and when factories start to open up in rural areas, it would generate job opportunities in rural areas, increase the average income of people in the rural areas. Thus, it also increased the standard of living of them. Now, since I have talked about infrastructure earlier, let's look into what an infrastructure is. In simple terms, infrastructure means structures and facilities that are essential for the business or a society to operate. Facilities like roads and highways, water supply, electricity, etc. are some facilities which is essential for an economy to function properly. Now, for an industrialization to happen, there should be foreign investments flowing to the country, good political stability, long term peace, motivated entrepreneurs and investors. Now, when it happens other way around, that is, when there is a continuous decline recorded in the local industries for a specific time period, then it will cause deindustrialization. So, factors causing deindustrializations are civil war, competition from foreign products, political instability, reduction in foreign investments, natural disasters, etc. will all cause deindustrialization. So that's it with this video guys. Please do like and share to learn and let others learn. Thank you.